Last year I made a video on how to do the weight and balance on ultralights specifically, because it's very simple for ultralights. And one of the key things with ultralights is you want to do a weight and balance with the pilot in the cockpit and the weight that is normally going to be flown. And you begin the process by getting your wings level, or at least the cord relatively level. Pretty relatively, I mean real close, within 1/4 inch front to back, or less than that even. And then we are going to hang a plumb bob from the leading edge of the wing, and we're going to hang it there by clamping from the back side, clamping the string so it hangs over just outside of the tire. It can't touch the tire, but it's got to hang free. Notice I got the doors shut because the wind's blowing and can hardly get the string to quit moving. So now we're going to measure from the center of the axle to the string. But I know the axle's 5/8 of an inch diameter, so I'm just going to hook the axle. I'll subtract half the diameter, or the radius of the axle. So we are at just over 5/8 minus half of 5/8. That's 312. So we're going to say that's 4.5 inches, maybe just shy of it. Now we're going to move the plumb bob in right against the fuselage here, get it to quit moving. And the plumb bob is almost directly over this here bolt. The leading edge is almost directly over this here bolt. So I can use this bolt to hook my tape measure on and measure the distance back to the tail wheel, which is kind of a difficult thing. You normally have 2 people here. Makes it way easier. I will have a second person here later because the weight and balance has to be done with the pilot in the cockpit for an ultralight. You can't just do the moment for the seat. It's difficult because it's real touchy with an ultralight because of the low mass and the pilot being half the weight of the ultralight. And once again, it's about 171 inches. Now, the real important thing is that the distance to the wheels, to the leading edge, has to be measured very precisely. And the weight at the tail has to be measured very precisely. The length can be slightly off. The weight can be slightly off up on the on the wheels. It doesn't change very much if you're off a little bit for the weight up there or the measurement back here. But vice versa, it does change the weight and balance quite a bit. So make sure your weight measurement is very accurate in the tail wheel, and the distance measurement is very accurate from the plumb bob to the center of the axle. So on the right wheel, it looks like we've got 5 and just slightly over 1/2 minus 312. So we're going to say this is 5 1/4 inches on the right wheel. So now we make a chart, and on the left-hand side of the grid, we have the front right wheel, front left wheel, tail wheel. I've measured these several times. I said 5 1/4. We'll just leave it 5.2. I don't know. Now let's go that last measurement was pretty accurate. Okay, so let's see. We got our lengths. Now we're going to weigh each wheel, and we'll put the weight here, and we'll multiply the distance times the weight and put the answer right here, and that'll give us our moment. And I just got a cheap crane scale. This thing's super accurate. At work I've used it, I've measured. It's usually repeats within ounces, even when you're up in the hundreds of pounds. So I love this thing. And remember, we're not lifting it high because this is 12.8. getting kind of weak. Today's my birthday, I'm 65, so that's why I'm getting kind of weak probably. Let's do it one more time. Make sure it repeats. 12.8. Now I did not show lifting the or weighing the front wheels because it's so difficult to do, let alone do while holding a cell phone. So, but my plane is quite heavy for what it is, based on that engine and steel landing gear. Oh, it also has a full tank of gas, because I want the max. I know that it's going to be a forward center of gravity, so I want to know the max it's going to be like when I'm taking off. And I'm quite surprised that it's nearly within the forwardmost limits as the plane itself. This is without anybody in the cockpit. The cockpit's going to take it back towards the rear. And you can see 10 inches, 10.25 inches, and my minimum limit is only 1.25 inches. So it's only 1.25 inches forward of my forward limit. And that's without me sitting in the seat. As soon as I get in the seat, it's going to come way back, especially since I moved the seat back further. With the 277, I had to have the seat moved forward all the way because the aft center of gravity with an empty tank, which is, if you're towards the aft, you want to make sure your header tank is relatively empty. And it was just on the verge of back here, so I moved the seat forward 2 inches, and it kept me within about 1 inch forward of the rear limit. So I'm excited about that, but I got a buddy coming. He's going to let me sit in the seat, and we'll do a real weight and balance. So I made a new chart, and of course, this chart's going to be with me in the cockpit, which is real important, the most important. And all of this stays the same because I haven't moved the tail up or down, and that's what changes these, moving the tail up or down. So these here will all remain the same. Once I get in, this the right and left wheel will go way up. The tail wheel will go up very little. It might go up to 20, 25 pounds, maybe. So you can multiply them across, total, put below the equation, add the weights, put them in front of it, divide this by that, and that gives you your number of inches back from the leading edge. And we want to be 11.5 to 15.36. And we'll see how that goes. Okay, my good buddy Tom. Tom, say hello.
Hello, hello.
My good buddy Tom got here, and he helped me do a weight and balance with me sitting in the cockpit. And I'm surprisingly pleased because with a full tank and that, I thought I was going to be a lot heavier than that. I'm not. And I thought I'd be closer to forward center limit, but I'm at 12.89, almost 13 inches back, 11.5 being the most forward I want to be. So I'm pretty pleased. And anyways, that's how you do your weight and balance. It's the lifting of it is the difficult part. It's better to have like 3 people to do this, but it's simple and it's quick. And there, I plugged the numbers into the equation so it doesn't just show nothing and then an answer. So this divided by that gives you 12 inches, 12.89 inches, almost 13 inches. And that's how you do your weight and balance.